Hey Bashers, in this video we're taking on some more viewer comments, and these comments come from April, and we're going to get right into this and see if we can answer some of these things for you. We like doing this in the video format and stepping away from just typing things in as text, because every now and then we have things we just need to talk a little bit about and text kind of falls short. This should be interesting. Here we go. Our first comment comes from a friend to the channel, and we've never met him personally, but he's got a cool channel of his own. It's Speed Psycho, and he's got some pretty cool comment. His question is,
cool channel, you're right. Everyone has their favorites. Mine is depending what my mood is and where I'm driving. I personally didn't like the Centon and converted it to a hybrid Typhon. But yours seems fun with your setup. May like it if I had one set up like yours. Great video.
well, the Centon's not for everybody. It's got kind of a unique placement. It's a short course truck, and depending on how you have it set up, it can handle really terrible or it can handle pretty good, but it requires a certain amount of setup to get it there. The shocks and the oils and everything, when it starts, it doesn't really handle things the way it should, and it's a 3S car. I like to run it turned down a little bit, gives you a bit more control and that kind of thing. There's some upgrades you can do to it, and if you haven't seen the video for that one yet, check it out. For the Centon 3S, we have that one on the studio. Thank you, Speed.
Wouldn't we want the thicker oil to keep the front wheels from ballooning too much? This is great, so thank you for all the information.
You know, we purposely don't tell you what our oils are here, and we do that for a certain reason. And what that comes down to is our driver style and the conditions we run in are unique to where we are. The conditions where you are will be different in one way or another, and you have to decipher for yourself what oils you want to use. Will adding thicker fluid to the center help prevent ballooning? Yes, it will. But it can cost you control if you go too far. Plus, the more power you throw to the rear, the more pressure is put on those parts, and the faster those parts can wear. Keeping the power uniform in the car gets you the most longevity, but it doesn't always give you the kind of driving that you want. So balancing your oils for that is one thing. There's another way to go about it. If you're worried about tire ballooning, look into getting some belted tires for your car, and then that's not such an issue. So there's that.
I just got the Pro 4 SE10 and it's been amazing compared to the price with a low-C Tenacity TT Pro. The Pro 4 SE10 comes with sway bars, come with the center diff. Add a heatsink with a fan and switch the receiver, add a gyro swap, the servo, and you're set. It handles amazing compared to the Arma Centon and a low-C TT and tracks a slash. This one takes a W. You can spend more on the Tenacity, but the Pro 4 SE10 keeps up with it.
You know, the Pro 4 SC10 is a cool truck. It is. We rate ours out of the box, and we haven't done a whole bunch of modifications to this one. We ran it out of the box, and the results were what we came up with. Each car is modifiable, and if you know what you're doing, you can tune most of them to get what you want out of them. This comment here talks about how he was able to get his to outperform the other ones. And that's quite a job right there, because personally, I think the TT Pro is an amazing short course truck, and right out of the box, it handled excellent. So there's a difference. Straight out of the box, if you're not into wrenching and whatnot, then the TT Pro is going to be the one you want, because you don't have to do a whole lot to it to get it controllable, fast, and exciting to play with. But if you like to wrench and you like to modify stuff, you can get just about anything and make it work if you understand the physics behind it. I'm glad you were able to get yours up and running the way you want it to. Right on. That's the kind of thing that makes this hobby fun.
Can you mix oils? Awesome vid. I really learned a lot.
I appreciate the comment, and you can mix oils as long as they're all the same base. In other words, silicone-based oils, you want to mix with the same thing. So if you have like a 40 and a 20, you can mix them. The problem with mixing your oils is it's hard to get good consistency out of it. If you're trying to get a 30 and you try to evenly mix two of them to get that, you're better off to spend the $5 to $10 and just buy some oil that's the right thickness for what you need it to do. You can mix them, but I prefer just buying the right oils to start with.
Love this kind of content. Keep it up. P.S. Any tips for screws that constantly fall out? It's metal screws into plastic, so I don't think Loctite is a good idea. Any suggestions?
You know, there's a couple things that we try to constantly remind people about this, and what it is when you screw into plastic, The problem there is if you do it quickly or do it a lot, you loosen that plastic up. The first time the screw goes in, it creates its own threads because it's just a hole with no threads. And so when you put it in the first time, it creates those threads and it gets nice and snug. If you use power tools of any kind and you run them in quickly, the screws that you run in there heat up, melt the plastic, and you'll have a hard time getting them to stay in. We're not saying you did this, but it's a real thing. If you've taken it apart a few times, it's going to loosen up in there and it's not going to want to hold. And at a certain point, you just have to buy a new part to run the screws into. I wish I had better news for you on that. You can try all kinds of things, but at the end of the day, a worn part is still a worn part and should be replaced.
Mate, I'm waiting on my X-Max, so binging everything I can whilst I wait, and I can tell you I wanted to hit the thumbs up 5 times, and I'm only 3 minutes in. If the rest of this video is as good as the first 3 minutes, you've got a subscriber. Edit. And I hadn't got to the subscribe request yet. LOL.
We really understand what it's like to have to wait for a model to show up in the mail. It's one of those things to where you want to play with it right now and the anticipation is just killing you. Been there, done that, and it's a lot of fun when you finally get it. When yours arrives, I hope you have as much fun with yours as we have with ours here. And when you have maintenance issues, be sure to come back to the channel. If we don't have a video on what you're working on, let us know in the comments, and if we can, we'll show you how it's done.
Yes, AJ. I keep forgetting every time how good a basher you are. I love your how-tos, but the bashing make my jaw drop. You're one of a kind and love your channel, brother. I'm putting my Italian back together and definitely appreciate the tricks and tips immensely. I give you 10 thumbs up. Last thing, I agree this one has kind of taken over the Typhon for me as well.
Thank you so much for the comment, Speed. We really do enjoy the Italian. It's a lot of fun to play with and it's a blast. And the nice thing about that car is you don't have to worry about the tires growing so much because it has the smaller tires on it. It's really fast, it flies really good, and it's just absolutely fun to play with. If it's set up properly, it is an amazing vehicle. Thanks for the comment.
Hi, from NJAJ. I love your channel and I would like you to help me to choose one of the following: Arrma Centon 3S, Rival MT10B2, Arrma Granite 3S, Arrma Big Rock 3S. I'll jump with Arrma Mojave 4S for later. Thanks for your help. God bless.
Well, choosing an RC car is kind of a tricky proposition because at the end of the day, it's what works for you. You're the one that's going to own it, you're the one that's going to play with it, and ultimately you're the one that's going to wrench on it. But out of all of the ones you mentioned there, the Big Rock really is the one that shines in my opinion. That one's a lot more versatile than a lot of the other ones. It's got the longer wheelbase, it's fun to play with, it's quick, it's fast, it's pretty durable being a 3S platform car. So I would have to say the Big Rock all day.
What tires and wheels are those?
Now that's a question we get pretty often, and what it is we went into the hobby store, and of course this is for the laser nut, and everybody sees these really cool V-rib tires that we have on there. We went into the hobby store and they had a bulk bin of tires and wheels. They had all the wheels on the wall and they were like $5 a pair for the wheels. No name. They were just like whatevers, right? But they did fit the car. So we bought the wheels, we bought 2 sets of those, so we got 8 in total. And then they had like, you could buy 2 tires for $3. It was just a big bulk thing. So we bought enough to set up 2 sets of those, and those are the tires that are on there. I really wish I could give you a name brand for that, but there isn't one. This was just in bulk and something the hobby store had in stock.
So I ran into an issue. Basically, no matter what I do, I can't get the threads to come unstuck.
You know, getting a stubborn screw out of your RC can be a difficult thing at times, especially some of the worst ones are in the steering linkages because they really Loctite those down. A lot of the companies Loctite them down really good so they won't come loose. But there's a trick to that. If it's metal into metal, they usually have Loctite in there. And what you can do is clean off the end of your soldering iron and hold it on the end of the screw for a few minutes. Get that screw nice and warm and it'll soften that Loctite and you can back it out. Be careful that you don't use a worn driver for that. You want to have one that fits in there really good because you can strip the head out and then you've got real problems. If it's into plastic, you know, that shouldn't be that hard to get out, but it's usually the ones that go into metal that give you the trouble. So that's all the time we have right now for the comments. We really appreciate you guys getting into the comment section and asking these questions because sometimes you get in there and some of the other subscribers will hop in and help you answer those as well. And that's what we want the comment section to do. If you have the answer to a question that's sent to the channel, please get in there and give your wisdom to it as well. It allows them to have as much information as possible when answering the question. We really enjoy this new format and it's the first time we've done it in studio 301, and I kind of like this too. It's pretty cool. If you haven't already, don't forget to bash that like button and help our content spread. This is just one of those things that is fun to do, and helping the community is what we're based on, and we've said that before. For AJ Jam Studios, I'm AJ saying, keep wrenching, guys.